Keel Infrastructure is entering a critical time period, and we're going to discuss that in this video. Stay tuned. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a great weekend, a good weekend just to sit on back. You know, we had a pretty rough day in the markets last Friday. You know, Keel dropped pretty heavily all the way down to about $4.30 Currently, as of right now, we are up a little bit in the pre-markets for Keel Infrastructure, which is a good sign. And we're going to discuss a little bit of everything and how Keel is really entering a very critical time period for the stock right now and for the company as a whole. And we're going to kind of discuss that and go over everything, and we'll go from there. But welcome back to the channel. If y'all are new here, please consider hitting the like and subscribe. I very much appreciate it. Also, if y'all want to, please hop over and join the Discord community. I'm trying to build a pretty tight-knit community to where we can talk about new companies, we find new companies and stuff like that. So let's get into it. So Keel Infrastructure last week dumped pretty heavy. You know, it started freaking a lot of people out again. And, you know, I made a video talking about, you know, it's not just a Keel thing. You know, I got comments down below that video saying, you know, why is Keel falling? You know, what's going on? Guys, you got to zoom out and you got to look at the whole sector, right? The whole sector sold off last week. It's not just a Keel Infrastructure thing. You got to pay attention to the sector that Keel Infrastructure is in. And that's very, very important, because if you don't, you're going to freak yourself out. You're going to freak yourself out. Yes, Keel, also, it's going to fall, and when it goes up, it's going to move harder, and when it goes down, it's going to move harder compared to its opposition, right? That's just how it is. It's a smaller name. It's going to be more volatile, and, you know, that's just what you take with investing in small cap names like this. As of this morning, Keel is up about 4% so far. You know, the broader market's kind of moving up today. Oil is back down to about $83, and I'll pop that up on the screen now, which is a good sign. You know, this thing last week was creeping up over 90. It was at like $93 when I did my live stream. So, you know, that's definitely something you do not want to see when you're wanting stocks to go up, is oil shooting up, you know, over 90 again. I think as long as we can stay under like 85, preferably under 80, I think we can see stocks do really well leading into, you know, the coming months in Q3. Jumping into why Keel Infrastructure is entering one of the most important time periods of its year right now, right? We're a couple of weeks away, not even really, away from their Q2 investor presentation. And leading into this investor presentation, expectations for Keel Infrastructure are at an all-time high. Not when it comes to revenue or earnings or anything like that, but when it comes to getting deals announced and coming out with updates. You have a lot of investors out here that have got into Keel Infrastructure recently, just this quarter really, in Q2, that the only reason they jumped in is off the basis of them signing 3 lease deals by the end of summer. And the reason I say this is one of the most important critical times for Keel Infrastructure right now is because if they do not deliver in this earnings call what investors want to hear, we're going to see a pretty violent sell-off, I think, in my opinion. So I really want people to be, you know, their expectations to be set and be what to expect if investors don't hear what they want to hear. With me, and see, that's the thing, there's a lot of investors in Keel Infrastructure right now for the wrong reasons. They're only in it for the hype. They don't have a thesis. They're only in it for a quick flip. And again, if they don't hear what they want to hear, it's going to be a pretty violent time. And, you know, that's where I'm kind of want to do my part, is making these videos to get people to understand and kind of level out their expectations, right? My expectations for Keel Infrastructure right now is I'm not expecting them to come out, you know, hot. If they do, that's just a plus. That's going to be a massive plus for me and my investment, right? But my expectations right now are just give us some updates, right? You don't have to come out in this Q2 earnings and say you signed a lease deal. It would be nice. I would be over the moon about it, but just give us some. So, you know, if you guys have followed the channel, you've noticed I've made videos about how we've seen satellite images at Moses Lake and how, you know, we have before and after pictures of there's buildings there and now there's not, right? So something is going on at Moses Lake, and Keel Infrastructure hasn't given us any kind of updates about it, which is kind of, you know, I'm kind of weary about that, because it's like, come on, man, if you're making progress at a place, make an announcement, right? Just give us an update. And another part of me is thinking, you know, they're not just going to start building, you know, tearing stuff down and building a new data center, a whole brand new ass data center without a customer, right? In my opinion. So, you know, my expectations, what I want for this Q2 earnings presentation is an update on Moses Lake, like a construction update, and preferably a lease deal, just one lease deal for Moses Lake, right? That's what I'm looking for. Now, if they come out and they don't announce a lease deal for Moses Lake, is my thesis broken? No, right? Because their timeline has always been, and I bring this up in every video because I like to refresh this in people's minds, because sometimes I guess people just forget, you know, what the company has said. Their timeline has always been late summer, mid to late summer, right? But me, I'm going to give them at least to the end of the year before I really start questioning my position. I'm going to give them time to work. They're a brand new company. They just re-domiciled this year. If they play their cards right, you know, they don't have to rush into anything. Yes, it's going to piss a lot of other investors off if they don't come out and, you know, sign lease deals after lease deal after lease deal. But I see the long-term picture in Keel Infrastructure. They have positioned themselves to really, really, really cement themselves as a big player in this space with the real estate that they own for these data centers. And even the analysts that have come out and talked about Keel Infrastructure, that's what they're bullish on, is they're bullish on their power portfolio, which includes their pipeline, which is their energy pipeline for power, and their sites, their data center real estate sites, right? They have some really, really high quality assets. If they make the right moves, guys, they could really, really be a top player. And that's what my bet is, right? That's what my bet is. So I don't want them out here rushing around and doing all this crazy shit. Now, do I wish they would give us more updates? Do I wish they would be more, you know, outgoing with their updates and on their social media? 100%. I really think they should upstep their social media. But I'm going to give them time to cook. I'm going to give them time to cook because they have the right stuff. They have the money, right? They have the money set aside for their build outs. They have the properties. They have the power. So having all that, it's hard for me to see the company just not execute while they have all the great assets that they do have and not do anything with it, right? It's just hard for me to see. It's really hard for me to see. So, you know, that's kind of my expectations coming in this Q2 earnings. But I want to just, you know, get people aware of what could happen at this earnings presentation if people don't hear what they want to hear. It could be pretty violent, right? This thing could drop hard. It could drop very hard if they don't come out with good updates, right? We already know that their revenue and their earnings aren't going to be fantastic, right? Because they're scaling back all their Bitcoin mining. They don't have any revenue coming in from their data centers. So, you know, we're going to see losses. We're going to see bad numbers. But that's just what happens when you're in a brand new company that are trying to do massive data center build outs for AI in the future, right? We know this is a capital extensive sector, right? We know that these hyperscalers are still ramping up their capital or CapEx, and we know who the beneficiaries are for that high CapEx. It's going to be companies like Keel Infrastructure. It's going to be chip companies. It's going to be memory companies, right? That's who's going to be on the receiving end of all this CapEx from all the hyperscalers, are the people building the infrastructure for AI, right? And that is just my thesis in a very simple terms, right? Is Keel Infrastructure is going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of the CapEx. They have great power. They have great sites. And all they need now is some great companies to come in and help them with the build outs, sign the lease deals with, and Keel Infrastructure is going to be up and away, in my opinion. So what do I think they could do? So what should we expect leading into this earnings presentation? What I think is we could start seeing the price, you know, pump pretty hard going into earnings, in my opinion. I think we could, because everybody's going to be anticipating a lease deal. Everybody's speculating on a lease deal. So I think people are really going to be topping up their positions leading into Q2 earnings. And, you know, we could see the price go back over $5 pretty easily leading into Q2. On the day of the earnings call, guys, I really, really want you guys to be prepared, right? Because I've seen it happen over and over and over and over again. Earnings days are the most volatile days in company history most of the time, especially these smaller names. Just expect Keel to drop. Just expect that. because I want you to be ready for it. And I don't want you to panic sell. There's no reason to panic sell, right? There's no reason to panic sell. And I should be live for the earnings. If not, I will make a video immediately following it and letting you know what I think of it, letting you know if my thesis is still intact, letting you know if I'm adding more, letting you know what I think about it. Like I said, this isn't a make or break Q2 for me. I want to give them a little bit more time to, get things right. But I do expect them to come out with some kind of update around Moses Lake of some sort, right? Now, if we get more announcements of the other sites, that's fantastic. But Moses Lake is the closest to being up, running, and powered, right? So I'm expecting to at least hear some kind of updates at Moses Lake. At least construction, or at least one lease still signed at Moses Lake. I really have high conviction in a lease deal being signed for Moses Lake, right? I really, really do. But we'll see, right? My timeline's always going to be the end of this year. And come the end of this year, if they haven't come out with any kind of meaningful changes, then we will come on here and reassess this investment and go from there. But I want to give Keel Infrastructure a chance because, guys, you only find, you find multi-bagger companies like this sometimes once in a lifetime, but you have to go through the ups and downs with the company. That's just how it is. Being an early investor in something, you're basically like a, an angel investor, or you're basically like a hedge fund making bets, right? That's just how you have to be able to hold through the ups and downs. People don't get rich because they hold these high cap names and they get 10Xs on them. People make money in the dark places of the market, right? Placing bets on companies that they have built high conviction in, and they have let the story play out, and it actually has played out, and they get a multi-bagger from it. You don't get it overnight. You don't get it in a couple of months. You don't get it even in a year. It takes multiple years when you find a company in its early stages for that company to build out, right? You have to give them time to build out. You have to. So I just wanted to come on here and get everybody's expectations in check, letting them know what we could expect, letting you know what I expect. Moses Lake has to have an update on this earnings presentation. They have to. But other than that, I want to give them time. And, I'm in no rush to hear about the lease deals, but I think we could get at least one. So let me know y'all's thoughts down below. What are y'all's expectation for this earning or investor presentation? Are y'all expecting them to come out with all 3 lease deals? 1, 2? Let me know what you guys want them to do. And let me know your thoughts on the investment as a whole. What's y'all's timeline? Are you holding multi-year? Are you holding for a couple months? Are y'all in it for a quick flip? Let me know. I'm always interested to see everybody's thoughts down in the comments, because there's so many different type of investors out here, and I just love seeing it, because everybody has their own thesis, right? Everybody has their own opinions and their own way they invest, and it's just very interesting to me. And that's what makes this community fun. That's what makes investing fun. And that's why I enjoy making these videos and talking to you guys down in the comments. So anyway, guys, hope y'all enjoyed it. Please stay safe out there this week. Keel Infrastructure's nothing's changed, man. Nothing's changed. They're still a good company. I still have high hopes for them, and I hope everybody else does too. I just don't want to see y'all panic sell out of a position just because of something stupid. So y'all have a good week. Enjoy your Monday. Stay safe, and we'll see y'all on the next one.